Well, thanks for the introduction. You mentioned IMEROPEX and my experience running the CEMEX program for 20 years. I'm building on that experience to do something better and stronger with IMEROPEX. Mitigating crisis risk through VR technology. We call them crisis pre-mortems. To deal with situations like this, school shootings, I'll address this specifically a little later. How do you prepare for these events before they happen? I'm not talking about training. I'm talking about recreating the event, understanding why they happen, and then have data and technologies to mitigate their happening in the real world. Crisis managers always worry about that problem. How do you prepare for a terrible event before it happens? What technologies, what procedures can you put in place before it happens to prevent it from happening in the real world? There are a number of methodologies for this. One are data simulations, where you run scenarios hundreds and thousands of times. You come up with a statistical prediction of what might happen and why, but you change certain factors. No human beings are involved with this, however. And then you have the tabletop exercises or seminars where people together in a room and talk about things. The problem with this, they come up with good concepts, but they're very subjective. There are no real metrics. Then you have the field events where you go out in the world and you do things for real. Usually these are exercises where you're training. You assume you know what's important and you're training against it. Furthermore, they're very hard to control and manage in the real world and very expensive. So IMEROPEX, the IMEROPEX solution, allows you to deconstruct terrible events before they happen in our crisis pre-mortems. What we do is we provide the full-dive virtual reality unit technology to make it realistic for the operators participating in the event, and provide a subscription service to do what-if scenarios to find out what causes things to happen, to understand what you can do to prevent them from happening in the real world. There's a multitude of markets overlapping that IMEROPEX would shape and intersect. Modeling simulation, virtual reality, crisis management, and a global market for crisis management insurance. As far as competitors, a number of companies are selling components, VR components. Very few, if any, are selling an integrated capability like the full-dive virtual reality unit that gives the multi-sensory experience that's so critical to making the pre-mortems realistic. Also, many companies are using VR technology for training. Very few, if any, are using VR technology for predicting and anticipating events using pre-mortems. As far as engagement on pre-seed and pre-revenue, I'll make that clear to everybody. I do have an MVP that we developed in Houston about a year and a half ago of the full-dive virtual reality unit that is patent pending. I'm also part of the Microsoft Founders Hub, and we have 200K cloud credits as a result. And the other thing I want to add is we've developed traction in Texas. We're going to be plan to do a pilot and a technical demonstration of school shooting scenarios to find out what you could do to mitigate those shootings. That's my team. There's literally 200 to 300 years of experience cutting across data scientists, hardware, software engineers in this team. My board of advisors spans the insurance industry, military operations, and VR technology. I'm raising $1.5 million to do a pilot event on school safety in Texas, to do shooting scenarios to examine what you could do to mitigate that threat. Building and shaping the business and moving on from there to other states and other themes. We anticipate the revenue to grow radically over the next few years through contracts to clients to run these scenarios, these pre-mortems, to give them data on what to do next. We'll also have a source of revenue by leasing and selling the full-dive virtual reality units.
That's great. Thanks, Jim. Oh, sorry.
So IMEROPEX is using VR differently. We're using VR for crisis pre-mortems to find out why things happen, rather than what is currently used for diversion and entertainment. Thank you.